into PFF Studios. Austin Gayle here with Mike Renner, the host of PFF's 2-for-1 Drafts podcast. We had another mock draft on PFF.com, means another video as well.
I was going to say, it's after the combine, stocks are going up, stocks are going down. Those tests, people pay attention to them. Test really well off the charts. Maybe you could be going a little higher than previously. If you didn't, maybe you're dropping out of the first round entirely. And again, this is what I think will happen, not necessarily what we would do. So that's why some of these guys may not make the top 30, 40 players on our draft board.
Yeah, I think that's an important distinction. This is what we think will happen after talking to other talent evaluators and NFL personnel in Indianapolis. This is what we think is going to happen in the first round, not necessarily going directly off our board what should happen. All right, let's go to number one. Joe Burrow of LSU going number one to the Cincinnati Bengals. We've mocked him to the Bengals every mock draft we've done so far. Not surprised here.
I was going to say, he stood at the podium in Indy and said, I want to go number one overall. I want to be the first overall pick. I'll play for whoever picks me. That means that Joe Burrow is going to be the number one overall pick, Cincinnati Bengals. It would be an all-time Ryan Leaf over Peyton Manning-esque mistake to go any other way.
All right, number two, you have Tua Tagovailoa, the Alabama quarterback. Got a clean bill of health in Indianapolis. He goes two to the Redskins.
I was going to say, a handful of things at play here. One, the reports are they're actually interested in Tua. Told him so at the combine. Two, Ron Rivera, the head coach there now, did not draft him. Bruce Allen, the guy, the GM who drafted him, or I guess the president before who drafted him, he is gone. Dwayne Haskins there from last year. He is gone. A lot of QB-needy teams passed on Dwayne Haskins. His rookie year was all right. Nothing to write home about. Nothing to make us convinced that he's their franchise quarterback. And when you don't have a franchise quarterback, that means you go draft yourself a franchise quarterback if one is there. Tua, with no injury, fully healthy, and if no Joe Burrow, he's going number one overall. So a lot of sort of arrows converging on him possibly being the pick there.
I mean, if you don't have your quarterback yet, you're not 100% convinced. I think you have to keep swinging the bat. Go find your guy. I think Tua Tagovailoa could be better than Dwayne Haskins at the next level. And Dwayne Haskins, too, still has value.
He's better at the college level.
Better at the college level. But Dwayne Haskins still has value. Still has value to be traded for maybe a late round one, early day two type of pick. Number three, you have Chase Young of Ohio State falling from 2 to 3 to the Detroit Lions. If Chase Young's on the board and the Detroit Lions aren't willing to trade back, this is the pick. You can put it in right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if it's a massive need for them, I think they would be happy as hell to get this guy at number 3 overall. It would be, need, value, and the talents you can't argue with there. And again, trade-wise, trade could still be in play here, but I don't think anyone's trading up the farm to go get Justin Herbert at this point.
And I think with Chase Young, didn't test at the combine, but I don't think it hurt his stock. This guy's a generational talent, all of those things. Number 4, Mekhi Becton of Louisville going to the New York Giants. He ran that 40 time. He's big as a house. I think Dave Gettleman's fallen in love.
I was going to say, I'm like scared standing next to his picture right here. That's how big this dude is. Throws people around on tape. And like you said, Dave Gettleman's going to fall in love with the guy. He loves size, loves physicality. That's Mekhi Becton to a T. They don't make guys this big that can move the way he does. 5'1", 40. I mean, the tools are off the charts. We have reservations about his pass protection, but that's something he can continue to develop on and advance in the pros.
He has all the tools to be the best offensive tackle in this class. Will he get there is up to discussion.
In the NFL.
Yeah.
That's the kind of tools we're talking about here.
Absolutely. Number 5, we have Justin Herbert of Oregon going to the Miami Dolphins. We are not super high on Justin Herbert. Don't see him as a top 20 player in this class, but quarterback. I think the Miami Dolphins need one. Herbert impressed in Indianapolis. He goes 5 to the Dolphins.
I'd say it's rare that you talk about a quarterback and one of his weaknesses is not either arm strength or accuracy, if you don't think he's a top flight guy. He has both of those. He has a great talented arm, one of the most explosive arms in this draft class, some of the best accuracy down the field in the draft class. It's just the decision making, playing the quarterback position, the little things that he just does not do well that we're worried about. But again, if you can bank on your guy, if you bank on your offensive coordinator, to clean that stuff up at the next level. Again, he has as much arm talent as anyone in the draft class.
The high end is definitely there. And we talked to several quarterback analysts, Bruce Gradkowski, Brady Quinn. They see the high end in Justin Herbert. He has that arm talent. Number 5 to the Miami Dolphins. 6, Isaiah Simmons. If he falls to 6, you get to pair Isaiah Simmons, the Clemson off-ball linebacker, safety, corner, alien hybrid with Derwin James. I mean, you're talking about a defense that I want to turn on every Sunday. This is very, very fantastic.
I would say it's time for defense coordinators to start taking back sort of the lead here. Dictate the terms for the offense instead of the other way around. You get an Isaiah Simmons pair with a Derwin James. Offenses all of a sudden have to account for that instead of defenses having to account for offenses. I think it flips the script on opposing offenses, and it would just terrify me as a quarterback, as an offensive coordinator, having to deal with what both those guys bring to the table.
Derwin James, Isaiah Simmons, and Nasir Adderley coming back healthy. I mean, that is quite the trio. Number 7, you have Jeffrey Okudah, the Ohio State corner, falling from 3. We've normally mocked him up here at 3. I've seen sometimes him mocked at 4 to the Giants, but he goes to 7. This is a huge scoop here. James Bradbury said he might not be back in Carolina. I don't see that happening. Jeffrey Okudah fills a need with a ton of value.
I was going to say, the Panthers have a lot of holes in that roster at the moment. They can go a lot of different ways, but if Okudah falls to them, it'd be hard-pressed to pass on a guy like him, as talented as he is, in an NFL sort of offense there, defense at Ohio State, plays a lot of cover 1, a lot of cover 3. Those are the 2 most popular coverages in the NFL right now. Ticked every single box at the combine you want to see. He's a top 5 player in this class, but there are a bunch of top 5 players in this class. He might get pushed down.
Absolutely. With Jeffrey Okudah, measurables, athleticism, character. I mean, this guy has everything you want in an NFL cornerback at the next level. 8, you have Tristan Works, the uber-athletic offensive tackle, literally exploded at the combine. Lit that thing on fire. Very impressive athleticism, very impressive measurables. Talked to him, said teams want to see him get meaner, maybe not overstep, but they really do like his game a ton.
And it fits for Arizona. Obviously, they still signed DJ Humphries, the left tackle. He's probably set in stone there. So Works played right tackle at Iowa, can slot him right in at right tackle there in Arizona. And that screen-heavy attack that Cliff Kingsbury has, he's a weapon in that. I mean, the way he can get out in front of wide receiver screens, running back screens, again, it's a weapon that can be utilized. He did a lot at Iowa. His play in space has been fantastic.
I think we need some Tristan Wirfs screens. I think this guy can get football in his hands, could do some damage. All right, number 9, Derrick Brown of Auburn goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Didn't have a great combine. That 3-cone, a bit concerning, but he's still a monster, still a big dude with a ton of strength.
I would say you can trust the tape here. He's a sure thing against the run. Run defense really doesn't have much, if anything, to do with how you perform at the combine. It is about strength. It's about technique. He's got both those
mentality
in spades and mentality as well. Very much a sure thing in that regard. Jaguars have been missing that for forever now. Even when their defense was at their tip-top, they were not a great run defense. He can bring that to the table and then have a consistent pocket pusher to get those guys on the edge to clean it up. Josh Allen, that'll make his life a little easier as well.
Number 10, Cleveland Browns, Jedrick Wills of Alabama, super athletic, explosive offensive tackle. Tristan Wirfs stole the show, but Jedrick Wills still turned in a very good combine in Indianapolis. High praise across the board. Anyone you talk to about Jedrick Wills loves Jedrick Wills. Number 10 to Cleveland, I think it makes a ton of sense.
I was going to say, the Browns cannot screw this up. An offensive tackle will be sitting there, one with great value, one who's super talented, whether it's Jedrick Wills, whether it's Andrew Thomas, whether it's Tristan Wirfs. Make one of them the pick, and you'll be a lot better off than you were last year at tackle.
I would agree. Number 11, New York Jets. They take Andrew Thomas, who right now is PFF's top offensive tackle in the class. 36-inch arms. He measured in in Indianapolis. This guy's got some impressive measurables as well.
I was going to say, he's actually our top tackle. 3 straight years at Georgia of plus pass protection, the highest graded Power 5 tackle in this draft.
Improved every year of his career.
Yes, every single year. And the thing is, you need a wide receiver too. You could use a Jerry Jeudy. You could use a CeeDee Lamb here if you're the New York Jets. But the difference between Jerry Jeudy and CeeDee Lamb versus the wide receiver you're going to get in the second round is so much closer. They're so much more closer to each other than the difference between Andrew Thomas and the tackle you get in the second round. You're not going to get a starter at tackle in the second round. You can get a starter at wide receiver. So Andrew Thomas makes too much sense in terms of the positional scarcity.
That speaks to 2 things. It's a very top-heavy offensive tackle class. The best guys are going to go in the first 11 picks. But with receiver, yes, it's top-heavy, CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy. But in the second round, even day 3, there's going to be some talent there that can start in the NFL. Speaking of receiver, Jerry Jeudy, a wide receiver of Alabama. He's PFF's top receiver, despite a disappointing, maybe fell under expectations at the combine. But Jerry Jeudy, still the top receiver in this class on PFF's board. He falls to 12 for the Las Vegas Raiders. I think they'll pull the trigger quickly if he's there at 12.
I say they need a number 1 type wide receiver. To me, there's 2 in this class that right off the rip, number 1 wide receivers, him, CeeDee Lamb. Raiders, I wouldn't wait till 19 to get one of those guys. So I do think Jerry Jeudy, his route running ability is special. Didn't test off the charts at the combine, but 4.45 is more than enough speed to be a number 1 in the NFL. Like I said, Jerry Jeudy makes too much sense.
All right, number 13, CeeDee Lamb of Oklahoma. He pulls the trigger right after Jerry Jeudy going to Indianapolis. I'll say this. If Indianapolis does make a play for a veteran quarterback like a Phillip Rivers, maybe a Tom Brady, adding a true number 1 like CeeDee Lamb in a draft is the right thing to do after bringing in that quarterback.
I was going to say, this makes too much sense after they will address quarterback, I assume. Addressing quarterback at 13 would be crazy to me. It's just not going to give you your value. That guy starting year 1 is probably not going to lead you to the playoffs. You have a playoff-ready roster. You have a ton of cap space. They're going to make a ton of moves in free agency this offseason. Add a guy who's NFL-ready in CeeDee Lamb from a route running perspective, from a ball skills perspective, and now you kind of have this complete wide receiving core if you get a guy like that. So if he drops to 13, to me, they'd sprint that card up there.
And CeeDee Lamb does so many things well. Like, he does a lot of things well. Ball skills, yards after the catch, route running. I think at 13, the value makes sense. 14, you have Javon Kinlaw. Did not test at the combine, but his stock remains in place as a top 15 player in this class. Dude's former JUCO transfer, great character, blew up the Senior Bowl before leaving due to injury. Javon Kinlaw, really do like this kid.
I'd say pair him next to Vita Vea on the interior of that defensive line, and you have the most physically imposing D-line in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, those two are freaks in their own right, just so much power, and it's just going to help those guys on the outside. Like I said, you get that interior push, it just gives it to those outside guys to clean it up. Javon Kinlaw, it's just something they don't have. They wanted Ndamukong Suh to be that last year. He was not. Give them an interior pass rush.
And some complained about Javon Kinlaw's polish. He said, as soon as you teach me a move, I'll learn it. He's just waiting for the teacher.
Someone teach me.
Bring him to Tampa Bay. I think you're going to teach him some pass rush moves, and you're going to see him produce at a very high level. Henry Ruggs at 15 to the Denver Broncos, probably the most common mock after like Joe Burrow at 1, because we know they want speed. We've heard from multiple people close to the Broncos. They want speed at the receiver position in the first round, and if you want speed, Henry Ruggs is your guy.
Let's say there's no one has more of it. If the combine is any indication, 4.27 speed, 42-inch vertical, just explosiveness off the charts. And that is the way the NFL is going. You can utilize that in your offense, even if you have no ball skills whatsoever, but like his ball skills are kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. He's great at the catch point. So Henry Ruggs, yes, his college production isn't great, but you are getting a weapon in the NFL that I think pairing him next to Courtland Sutton would just be perfect in terms of what Drew Lock, the way he plays the quarterback position. That is a perfect combination.
Great explosiveness, improving as a route runner, and you speak to the ball skills, is of over 10-inch hands. This guy's got some mitts. Henry Ruggs for sure. All right, 16, we have Kayla Vaughn did not participate at the combine, but everyone really, really does like Kayla Vaughn. He's not complete like Chase Young. He doesn't have the polish like Chase Young, but what he does bring to the table is stupid athleticism, stupid burst off the line of scrimmage. I mean, he's going to bring a ton of tools to Atlanta.
I'll say Atlanta has a type also. They love athletes, and sometimes it hits with the Desmond Trufants of the world, the Deion Joneses of the world. Sometimes it doesn't, like the Vic Beasleys. So I think they are not going to go against type because that's what they think the game's going, and they were kind of ahead of the curve on that in terms of getting speed defensively.
Grady Jarrett is another example.
I would say they're going to keep getting speed. Kayla Vaughn, maybe the most athletic edge player in this class. They're going to bet on him even if the production isn't quite there.
All right, 17. We're going Christian Fulton. I really do like this mock to the Dallas Cowboys. Some have mocked safety, Xavier McKinney, Grant Delpit. We've even done so in the past. But cornerback, Christian Fulton, very, very good player. Tested in a good range for what he's done on tape as well. I like Christian Fulton at 17 to Dallas.
I was going to say, safeties could go here, but I just think cornerback with Byron Jones very much going to move on at this point. It would seem the more valuable position. Cornerback's going to bring more to the table, and I think Christian Fulton is just a very complete cornerback. I mean, maybe he doesn't have the high-end plays that Okudah does, but 2 years in the SEC of shutting down wide receivers, never really getting torched. He's just very, very good across the board. Not one thing that he's hanging his hat on, but like that still plays at the NFL level.
18, Miami Dolphins, C.J. Henderson. Talk about an athletic freak. People maybe don't love this past season for him. Had some poor production than we saw in 2018, but he tested off the charts from an athleticism standpoint. I also think he's a very good kid, high character guy, wore the number 1 at Florida, which comes with that status. C.J. Henderson, one of my favorites really in this class.
I say Dolphins, Brian Flores, man-heavy defense. Second best man corner in the class after Jeffrey Okudah. Has all the traits you want. Speed, just a fantastic all-around athlete. And that's what plays at man coverage. You're going to lose a step. You're going to get behind guys. Can you make that up? Can you mirror? He has shown that again and again that he can. Had some ugly reps on tape this year, but it was only a handful of plays. His consistency, with being able to stick with receivers is still worthy of a top 20 pick. 19,
Raiders' second pick of the first round. They take Patrick Queen, the off-ball linebacker of LSU. Tested really well in Indianapolis, has that range, has that skill, has that athleticism that off-ball linebacker, like teams need at off-ball linebacker.
I would say you roll into 2020 with Tahir Whitehead and Nicholas Morrow again.
It's not going to flow.
It's not going to work. You're not going to turn around that defense all of a sudden. So weak up the middle last year. Patrick Queen covers so much ground. Yes, he's undersized, but makes up for it with some explosiveness. A little raw, only really 1 year of a starter. You get wary about guys with that small sample size, what they've done, and got to focus on the passing game because teams weren't running in second halves against LSU this past year, but I mean, what he does in the passing game is still special. Like, he has all the traits you want.
Talk about a team like Atlanta that needs to draft speed. It's the Oakland Raiders. They need to get back to that on the defensive side of the ball. Jacksonville, Xavier McKinney, safety from Alabama, can do anything you want. I think he has over 200 defensive snaps played at 4 different positions. This guy's very versatile. I thought he had a good head on his shoulders in the interviews as well in Indy.
I was going to say, a lot of people get the do-it-all label. He literally did it all. For Alabama, blitzing, playing the run, playing linebacker. record, playing the slot, lined up pretty much all over, kind of the Derwin James of the Alabama Crimson Tide last year. Not on that level athletically, but I think just as a football player, you see the instincts, you see just the tackling ability, the run support. It's all there for him. So I think someone like that in the Jaguars defense, they just don't have that guy over the middle at the safety position right now.
McKinney, great versatility in alignment and assignment. Whatever you ask this guy to do, he's going to do well. Jalen Reagor, the TCU wide receiver, didn't test where we thought he was going to, but he did add some beef to his frame. He weighed in, I think, 206 pounds. You thought he would run a little bit faster, but maybe that was some bad weight he put on. But Jalen Reagor, still a deep threat, still really, really explosive. You saw that in his jumps at the combine. I like him at 21.
I would say the dude pops off the tape again and again. Got missed a ton by the TCU QBs this past year. They just need some athleticism in that Eagles wide receiving core. Needs someone to sort of take the top off the defense. He can pop the top and did that regularly at TCU. So I do think that Reagor makes too much sense from a need and value perspective there.
All right, 22, you have Justin Jefferson, the wide receiver from LSU, played a ton in the slot this past season, had some of the highest percentage of accurate targets coming from Joe Burrow. Didn't face a ton of press coverage from the slot, but still produced at a high level. Ball skills are great. Everyone we talked to in Indy said they love this guy. Yeah. At 22, he goes to the Bills.
I would say he's a great sort of creative route runner from the slot. Is where he played at LSU mostly this past year. Great at setting up defensive backs, and then his ball skills. Like catching the ball is second nature to him in contested situations, out in the open field. Someone to adjust to passes. I'm not going to bring up Josh Allen making his wide receivers adjust to passes, but I will say Justin Jefferson fits in that offense.
Yeah, I think Justin Jefferson's going to bring everything in, even the ones that are a little bit wild coming out of Josh Allen's arm. All right, Josh Jones falls a little bit in this mock draft. Didn't have the greatest of combines compared to some of these other athletic freaks that were in Indianapolis, but the Patriots, they grabbed Josh Jones, the Houston offensive tackle. Right now is the fourth tackle on PFF's board.
I would say they're going to lose Joe Thuney this offseason, most likely their left guard. Marcus Cannon at right tackle may very well be a cap casualty, and the Patriots, they don't build for this year. They're not going to plug a guy right in right away. They know that offensive line is an investment for later years. Josh Jones can start at left guard, then eventually move out to right tackle or wherever they need him. He is, in my opinion, NFL ready in terms of what he's done in pass protection, but still needs to be a little reworked. Fortunately, Dante Scarnecchia is not still there, but I do think that they could still go O-line and just sort of, not going to be a sexy pick, but a pick that will have lasting long-term impact.
Isaiah Wynn, Yeldy Froholt, Josh Jones, that's a young offensive line with some tools. All right, 24, New Orleans Saints, they bring in Laviska Shenault Jr. of Colorado, ran a 4.59 official 40-yard dash, pulled up with an injury, though, did not participate in the rest of the combine. Injuries are a huge concern for us. I mean, it's scary at this point how much this guy's gone through, but still a first-round pick and on our board, and he comes in the first round, 24, to the New Orleans Saints. If there's an offensive coordinator that's going to get the best of Laviska Shenault, use him in the role that he needs to be, it's going to be Sean Payton.
That's the thing. It's like I cannot see them passing on Laviska Shenault. Just with the wide receiver need outside of Michael Thomas, really had no one else to go to when the chips were down. If someone wanted to double Michael Thomas, that offense sort of went in the tank. So from that perspective, it makes a lot of sense. And also just like creative weapon usage. Yeah. They'll get the most out of him. I just can't see them seeing his tape at Colorado, seeing how explosive he is, seeing the big plays he can create via nothing other than his talent alone, and saying, no, we'll go elsewhere. So I do think 24, almost the floor for Laviska at this point.
Yep. All right, here we go. 25, Minnesota Vikings. They bring the Marlon Davidson, the interior defensive lineman from Auburn. Very athletic guy for an interior defensive lineman. Played a ton of edge at Auburn, but he's beefed up to over 305 pounds, I believe. He came in, weighed well. I think he's going to come in Minnesota and also play well.
I was going to say, 280 he was listed at Auburn this past season. Played on the edge. Was actually pretty productive as a pass rusher on the edge, which surprising, and that's like bodes well for if you're going on the interior. Bulked up all the way to 303, ran a fairly respectable 40 time, fairly respectable 10 time. I think it was like something like 504 40. So at 303, having just put on that weight, pretty impressive. And the need for 3-tech is obvious. Shamar Stephen, 6 pressures all last season, 350 pass rushing snaps. That's awful. They have to upgrade that with as talented and edge rushing duos they have there in Minnesota. To not get anything up the middle is almost criminal.
Yep. 26, Miami Dolphins picking again. AJ Epinesa, a little bit of a free fall for him. Did not test well at the combine. I was talking to Tristan Works. He said he shot him a text and said, do better at your pro day, but people know your tape is still very good. And we really still like AJ Epinesa for his tape. Projects as a Trey Flowers type of player at the next level. Not going to wow you with the juice. Yeah. Very fundamental, though. Is going to create pressure. Has a high floor in the NFL.
Yeah, that's what we kind of saying going into it. And yes, the numbers were even worse than what we expected, but that's not his game. I mean, he's not a get-off guy. He's not a get to the edge. He wins with his hands, wins with his technique, and can move up and down the line of scrimmage and not look out of place. He can play the run. If you want to play him a 3-time full-time 3 technique, I think he could do it. And that's That's Miami Dolphins. Again, that's Brian Flores. That Patriots defense requires some versatility there along the defensive line, so I can see them coveting this type of skill set. Obviously, the Patriots coveted Trey Flowers' skill set.
Yeah, the Dolphins taking Herbert, C.J. Henderson, A.J. Epinesa. That is quite the trio. I really do like the first round for the Miami Dolphins. 27, Seattle Seahawks, A.J. Terrell, the cornerback from Clemson. Talk to me about him.
I was saying, scheme fit here is big. Seattle, with what they like at the cornerback position, they're not going to draft a guy with 31-inch arms, a guy with, little stubby baby T-Rex arms. They're going to draft a long guy, a guy who's smooth on the outside, a guy who can transition from press to off and run that silo route tree at a high level. That's been A.J. Terrell over the course of his career. Yes, he got torched in the national championship game, but only a junior. You go back to the national championship game before that, had the pick 6, ran a few routes for some of the Alabama wide receivers. I think he's still only scratching the surface of what he could be at the cornerback position.
28, one of my favorite fits here, Kyle Duggar of Lenoir-Rhyne. Guy came in with the largest wingspan of any defensive back, biggest hands of any defensive back, and tested out of this world for a guy of his size. This guy is very, very special. Don't let the small school fool you.
I was going to say, over 11-foot broad jump, over a 40-inch vertical, and it's
absurd.
It's an S here, but it's more of a linebacker in that scheme. That's where he would play if the Baltimore Ravens drafted him, because he is a run and hit type of guy, and he is a monster as a blitzer. Him coming downhill is terrifying for
very
even offensive
aggressive player too. Great character. I mean, he has all these tools, but I also think he projects as a high floor in the NFL because great character, all of those things. I think his best football is ahead of him, and it's in the NFL.
And then the Ravens scheme blitz more than anyone else in the NFL. This guy's born to blitz.
Don Martindale is licking his chops at the opportunity to bring in Kyle Duggar. 29, Tennessee Titans, they bring in Ezra Cleveland. Talk about a riser. This guy put on a combine for the ages. Very athletic, smooth-moving offensive tackle. Was pretty high on our board going into Indy, but now could be a first-round pick.
It very well could be. It's just because you look at the history of guys with 3 cones and short shuttles at that sort of, with those elite-level movement skills, and they work out well in the NFL.
Yeah.
The half of playing tackle in the NFL is just being able to stay in front of those 250-pound edge rushers that are quicker than you and I at that absurd weight. So he has those skills. He has the movement skills. He pass protected at a high level at Boise State. Grades over 80 in pass protection each of the last 3 years, but you kind of get wary when you saw him play against Oklahoma State last year, and he got a little torched in that game. He played against high-level competition. It didn't really work out, so you're a little wary of that grade coming from a small school, but when a guy moves that way, I think you start to feel a little better about what he gets with better coaching, better weight room at the next level.
In addition to that, after Ezra Cleveland, the tackle class gets pretty bleak, and I think if you are going to try and swing the bat on one at the top of round 2 or at the end of the first round, Ezra Cleveland's probably that last guy before you start to try and grab some depth players. Denzel Mims, the Baylor wide receiver, talk about a guy who lit the combine on fire. I think he secured his first round status. I don't think all 32 teams let this guy dip into the second round. Absurd athlete, had great ball skills in my opinion, had a very good Senior Bowl. I mean, this guy continues to rise up boards.
Yeah, his highlight reel in terms of like jump balls they threw him at Baylor is just silly. The dude can fly. And then his 3 cones, 6'6", the best of any wide receiver in the class at 6'3" is crazy. The route running show at the Senior Bowl was just different than what we saw at Baylor, because at Baylor was such a limited tree, was not asked to do anything more than basically vertical routes. And when you aren't asked to do that, you just can't evaluate necessarily these guys as receivers. Gets off press well, runs a full route tree. Yes, he's on the older side compared to some of the top guys in this class, but I don't think he's leaving the first round after Indy, what he did there.
And with Denzel Mims, too, I think he's a good example of what the Senior Bowl can do for your stock. If you're a receiver that runs a limited route tree in an offense that doesn't really break things out, you go to the Senior Bowl, run everything they've got, and you show out, I think you're going to rise up boards. 31, San Francisco 49ers have Grant Delpit. If he falls to 31, I think San Francisco 49ers would be very happy. Right now, he's the top safety on PFF's board.
They'll say Jimmy Ward maybe gone there for the 49ers, so there's a hole in the middle of that defense. They've been just adding coverage players to the middle of the defense. Haven't really cared about run defense. Basically banking on their O-line to do that. They like speed. They like guys who can impact the passing game. That's Grant Delpit. Yes, he has his missed tackle problems. Yes, you don't really want him in the box, but he's kind of a matchup weapon when you go man coverage, and then over the middle of the field covers a ton of ground and has ridiculous instincts. So I'm still pretty high on him, but I can see why some NFL teams would not want to take on that tackling problem.
Super Bowl winning Kansas City Chiefs at 32 grabbed Kenneth Murray, the athletic off-ball linebacker. I think he and Patrick Queen are held in a similar regard in that they're great from an athleticism standpoint, maybe still a bit raw in learning the position, but you bank on that athleticism translating.
I would say Kenneth Murray will shut down the screen game, will shut down wide runs. That is who he is, has absurd closing ability, explosiveness at over 240 pounds, ran in the 4.5s before he tugged his hamstring there at the combine. that's a different level of athlete than what they have in Reggie Ragland and Anthony Hitchens there in that linebacking core for Kansas City. Yes, they could address cornerback, but there's a better chance they can grab a starter at the back end of the second round at the cornerback position instead of linebacker. There's not a lot of great game-changing linebackers.
Not a deep off-ball linebacker class. That's going to do it. Our latest first-round mock on PFF.com. You got the video as well. Make sure to check out the 2-for-1 Drafts podcast for more Mike and myself. But this is going to be it. Subscribe to PFF's YouTube channel. Thanks again.
You want to get rid of me and get back to more great PFF YouTube content? All you have to do is push that button right there and subscribe. Thanks for watching.